When my husband returned from his campaign in the East Sea, he brought back a pregnant mermaid. She said, "The child in my womb is the general's. Sister, would you be willing to share one husband with me?" I refused to share him with her. That night, she drowned in the lake, taking both her own life and the unborn child. From that day onward, my husband neglected me for 5 years. Later, when I became pregnant, my husband personally forced me to drink an abortion potion, coldly watching as blood stained my skirt crimson. When I opened my eyes again, I had reborn on the day the general returned victorious. Before the mermaid could speak, I proactively told the general, "I am pregnant. The child in my womb belongs to the crown prince. I beg you, general, to divorce me." The general's hair turned green with jealousy. When word reached the crown prince, he exploded, "Shenyanfei. When did I ever touch you?" Main text, Yenner, wait a little longer. Your husband will soon avenge you. Hiding outside the study, I watched my husband, Chile, caress a painting. The painting depicted a mermaid of breathtaking beauty, her fishtail glistening with iridescent light. Her name was Yen. She was the spoils of war my husband brought back 5 years ago when he returned victorious from the East Sea. The first time I saw her, her belly was slightly rounded, she was already with child. The emperor asked Chile what reward he desired for his victory. Chile replied, "Your servant wishes to build a lotus pond in the rear garden. I humbly request the imperial lake water to fill it." It was common knowledge that the imperial lake water was transported from the East Sea by the Ministry of Works, a journey of thousands of miles. The cost of this transportation made the water more precious than pearls. The emperor waved his hand and granted Chile's request. Chile had an artificial lake dug specifically for Yen in the back garden, planting thousands of lotus flowers within it. He filled the lotus lake with imperial lake water and built a water house in the lake's center using hundreds of thousands of shells. My husband and Yen spent day and night in that shell-built water house, completely disregarding me, his lawful wife. Later, Yen died, taking 2 lives with her. Her blood stained the lake crimson. Chile and I grew up together since childhood. My father was the general of the nation. He had no parents and was adopted by my father from a young age. Everyone knew he was my betrothed husband. When others mocked him, he would always laugh it off, being Yanfei's child-betrothed husband? I'm happy to be it. My father taught him martial arts and the art of military strategy. From the age of 16, he followed my father into battle across the land. Within 8 years, he became a general revered by all. When we married, he kissed my brow with infinite tenderness, "Yanfei, to have married you, I die without regret." I too believed I had married the man I would walk through life with. When Yan's body was pulled from the lake, Chile's eyes blazed crimson, his gaze wild with fury. He pointed his sword at me, his hatred seething, "Shenyanfei, you killed the woman I loved most. How will you pay for this?" Only then did I realize the person he truly loved was not me. Our bond, forged since childhood, could not compare to that of a mermaid. Pushing those thoughts aside, I placed my hands gently on my rounded belly. Now I too am with child. This child is Chile's. I had always believed 5 years would be enough to wash away everything. Yet, he still harbored thoughts of avenging Yen. Just as I turned to leave, Chile lifted his gaze and said coldly, "Since you've discovered the truth, this general sees no point in pretending any longer." My heart lurched, and I stumbled backward. Chile strode forward, trapping me in place. The murderous intent in Chile's eyes terrified me. I struggled, "Husband, what are you doing?" Chile cut me off, "Don't call me husband. Only Yen deserves that title. Shenyanfei, you are unworthy." After speaking, he raised his voice to order his men, "Someone, go brew a bowl of abortion potion." "Chile!" I gasped. "This child is yours. Even a tiger doesn't devour its own cubs. You want to kill your own flesh and blood? If you didn't want this child, why did you allow me to conceive it?" His gaze was icy, devoid of any emotion. "How else could I make you repay your debt for taking Yenner's life and mine? Shenyanfei, do you know that every time I shared a bed with you, I felt like vomiting? These past 5 years, not a single day has passed without me thinking of Yenner. You killed her. Even if you were sent to hell, it wouldn't be enough for me to forgive you. Chi Lei's words cut like knives, each syllable a dagger to the heart. Tears welled in my eyes as I laughed bitterly. So you hate me this much? How many times have I told you, I didn't kill Rongyan? Why won't you believe me? Enough of your lies. Chi Lei cut me off. Yenner was pure and kind. Who else but you would kill her? You killed Yenner, you killed this general's flesh and blood. I will make you taste the agony of losing your own. An hour later, the abortion potion was ready. Chi Lei couldn't even wait for it to cool. He seized my jaw and forced an entire bowl of scalding potion down my throat. My throat burned as if on fire, tears streaming down my face. Chi Lei's fingers tightened, as if he intended to crush my jawbone. He snarled, "Swallow it. If a single drop spills, I'll kill one member of your Shin family." Father died on the battlefield 5 years ago, and the Shin family has since declined. Chi Lei, having distinguished himself in battle these past years, replaced my father as the general of the nation. I knew he possessed the power to wipe out my entire Shin family. My heart turned to ashes as I swallowed the scalding abortion potion with tears in my eyes. A piercing pain shot through my abdomen. Blood spread, staining my skirt crimson. Mother and child share a bond, I could feel the formed fetus struggling within me. Chi Lei watched coldly as the blood soaked through my skirt, his eyes gleaming with the satisfaction of vengeance. Yet his hatred for me was far from spent. He bit my earlobe, nearly tearing it off. His icy voice rang in my ear, "Shin Yanfei, this won't be your first child, nor will it be your last." I couldn't fathom why he said that. The agony left me no room to ponder. Chi Lei's lips curled into a cold, grim smile as he spoke each word deliberately. "This general will make you conceive a second, then a third child. I will personally force you to drink the abortion potion until you admit your mistake." Bastard! Overwhelmed by despair, I yanked the hairpin from my hair and laughed bitterly. "Chi Lei, I won't give you that chance again." The sharp hairpin pierced my throat. Blood gushed forth as I let out a pained whimper. "Yan Fei, you." Chi Lei was flustered and disoriented. He probably hadn't expected me to die so decisively. The hairpin fell to the ground. With my blood-stained hand, I gently cradled my lower abdomen. Chi Lei held me close. In my dying moments, I saw the intricate red veins in his eyes fade, replaced by a deep crimson. Like a man possessed, Chi Lei twisted in agony and regret. "No. This can't be real. None of this is real, Yan Fei." A single tear slid from his eye as he cried out wildly, his face thrown back toward the sky. Why? Why? His state startled me, yet I had no strength left to question further. His tears fell onto my blood-soaked neck, steaming the warm liquid beneath. For the first time in 5 years, I sensed his body carry the warmth of an ordinary human. These 5 years had been unbearable. Now, at last, I could be free. I closed my eyes completely. When I opened them again, I had been reborn to the day Chi Lei returned victorious from his campaign in the East Sea. By all logic, I should have gone to the city gates to welcome him, yet I remained quietly within the mansion. Seeing my unusual behavior, the maid Chuya asked in confusion, "Madam, the general is on his way back. Are you certain you won't go to the city gates to greet him?" Lying on the daybed, I replied in a faint voice, "No. There's nothing worth greeting." Oh. Chuya withdrew, bewildered. A moment later, Chuya returned to report, "Madam, the crown prince has arrived." I rose from the couch and instructed, "Let him in." Moments later, Crown Prince Chu Shitian stepped into the courtyard. I brewed tea in the courtyard, waiting for him. Chu Shitian and I had also grown up together. Though he held a noble status, our meetings often involved playful banter. The moment he arrived, he delivered shocking news. "Shin Yanfei, my scouts report that General Qi has returned to the capital with a pregnant mermaid. Guess whose child she carries?" In my past life, Chu Shitian had also informed me of this news beforehand. Back then, I refused to believe it, insisting the child in the mermaid's womb couldn't possibly be my husband's. Now, I replied with a casual air, "Since Chi Lei brought the mermaid back, the child in her womb is most likely his, isn't it?" Chu Yintian was taken aback by my composure. "Clever. But shouldn't you be jealous?" I stirred the tea, smiling lightly. "Jealous of what?" There are countless men in the world. If he doesn't work out, we'll just find another. You're not joking? Chu Yintian smoothed his robe, his expression turning serious. What kind of man would you want? In my past life, during those 5 years when Qi Lei neglected me, Chu Yintian had told me countless times, Yinfei, there are countless men in the world. If it doesn't work out, just replace him. As long as you're willing to remarry me, I will present you with the finest things in the entire realm. I will never harm you in the slightest, nor will I ever cast a second glance at another woman. In my past life, I didn't choose Chu Tian because I preferred Qi Lei, that general clad in armor, radiating imposing might. Chu Tian was strikingly handsome, tall and slender. Though his appearance aligned with my aesthetic, compared to the decisive, battle-hardened Qi Lei, he lacked that certain masculine edge. Now that my perspective has shifted, I find Chu Tian more pleasing to the eye than Qi Lei. He looks like someone I could toy with at will. I beckoned him closer with a flick of my finger. Come nearer. Chu Tian instinctively moved closer. Before he could react, I tilted my head and planted a swift kiss on his lips. Chu Tian froze in place, his ears flushing crimson. He nervously pressed his lips together, staring at me. Xin Yinfei, you're a married woman. How could you? How could you be so unfaithful? I curved my lips, unconcerned. Well, I'm unfaithful. So, do you still want to kiss me again? Chu Tian was internally torn. I could see the struggle in his expression. One voice whispered, I am the crown prince. How can I kiss a married woman? If this gets out, my entire reputation will be ruined. Another voice roared, so be it. She is the woman I cherish most. I'll kiss her first, then worry about the rest. The second voice prevailed over the first. Chu Yitian pulled me into his embrace and captured my lips with his own. Qiu Yi, who had come to refill our tea, froze in place as if struck by lightning at the sight. Only after a long moment did she recover, covering her face as she slipped away silently. My lipstick was smudged across my lips by Chu Yitian's kisses. He didn't release me until I was nearly breathless. His face was flushed, his excitement palpable. I teased, Your Highness, how does it feel to kiss a married woman? It feels absolutely wonderful, Chu Tian replied, still savoring the moment, his mood light. Fair, I scaled the wall to find you tonight and kissed you right in front of your husband. Don't back down when the time comes. In front of Qi Lei, you say? Fine. Whoever backs down is a coward. About half an hour after Chu Tian left, Qi Lei returned. The mermaid lay in the water tank. As Qi Lei ordered men to carry her into the side room, she pushed the tank lid open with her hand, revealing half her face. Bright eyes, pearly teeth, skin as white as snow, she was breathtakingly beautiful. She brushed past me in the courtyard, her gaze meeting mine, 7 parts innocence, 3 parts challenge. She seemed to know I was the general's wife. Qi Lei followed closely behind, instructing his men to handle her carefully, lest they bump or scrape her. He ordered the maids to fill a tub with water, where the mermaid would be kept temporarily. Only after everything was settled did he notice me sitting in the courtyard. He approached me, showing no joy at our reunion, only a sense of estrangement. He said, Yinfei, that mermaid is named Rongyan. She will reside in the mansion henceforth. She is with child. You must care for her well. In my past life, he had spoken these very words to me. Back then, consumed by jealousy, I had argued fiercely with him, and we parted on bitter terms. Now, he repeated those same words to me once more. My response was colder than his. With so many maids in the mansion, why must I care for her? If you fear she might be mistreated, General, tend to her yourself. I have no time to spare. Qi Lei hadn't expected me to be so nonchalant. I didn't even ask whose child the mermaid was carrying. He probed, You truly don't mind her existence? I don't mind. I strolled to the small stream in the courtyard, leaning over to watch several koi playing in the water. It's just a fish. If the general likes it, let him keep it. Yinfei. Qi Lei tried to say more. I yawned and headed toward the side room. I'm tired. I'm going back to my quarters to sleep. After waking, I was washing up when Chiyoyu reported, "Madam, that mermaid is causing quite a fuss. She complains the bathtub is too narrow and demands the general build her a lotus lake to swim in. She also wants a water house made of shells for her to live in." I frowned. Quite the list of demands. "Where is the general?" Chiyoyu replied, "The general has gone to the palace to pay his respects to his majesty. I wonder what reward he will seek this time. No need to guess, it would surely be the same as in my past life, the imperial lake water." After dressing, I took Chiyoyu to the side room where Rongyuan was staying. She was curled up, soaking in the bathtub. Hearing footsteps, she lifted her head above the water. Her skin was as delicate as porcelain, and she gazed at me with large, watery eyes. Truly a beauty of unparalleled grace, I couldn't help but feel pity for her. "You must be the general's wife? My name is Rongyuan. The general must have mentioned me to you." Rongyuan smiled faintly, her voice sweet and alluring. "I hope you'll look after me from now on." Had I not fought her in my past life and suffered defeat at her hands, I too would have been deceived by her delicate, harmless appearance, believing her to be a simple mermaid. Pacing around the bathtub, I admired her graceful figure and smiled. I hear mermaids are treasures from head to tail. This fishtail would make a splendid soup, surely highly nourishing. "Would you prefer to be steamed or stewed, little sister?" Rongyuan's face paled, her earlier composure vanishing. She gritted her teeth silently. "How dare you?" I stepped beside her, my fingers twining through her hair. "Why wouldn't I dare? I've heard mermaid hair makes the most exquisite strings for harps. Your 3,000 strands could craft at least 10 instruments, wouldn't you say?" As I finished speaking, I tightened my grip, jerking her head back. Infuriated and humiliated, she snapped, "Let go of me. Do you know whose child I'm carrying?" I snorted coldly. "Even if it's the general's, so what? It's just a fish." They say if you implant pearl buds inside a newborn mermaid, once it grows up, you can extract the mermaid pearls from its body. A single pearl can fetch 1,000 taels of gold. Once your little mermaid is born, I'll plant thousands upon thousands of pearl buds inside it. Wouldn't that make me rich enough to rival a nation? Ha ha ha, that's brilliant. I burst into laughter, leaving Rongyuan trembling with fury. Just as she was about to explode, a series of anxious footsteps echoed outside the door. It must be Chi Lei returning from the palace. Rongyuan immediately began wailing, "Sister, Yenner was wrong. Please spare me, wah." Just like in my past life, Rongyuan remained the consummate actress. Chi Lei pushed the door open from outside, his gaze filled with murderous intent as he scanned the room. Before he stepped inside, I drew a wooden comb from my sleeve. Hearing Rongyuan's voice from outside, he'd assumed I was tormenting her. But when he stepped inside, he saw me standing behind Rongyuan, bending down to gently comb her hair. I chuckled softly, "What's wrong? Did I pull too hard, little sister?" "I didn't mean to. It's all because your hair hasn't been washed with soap nuts in so long, it's all tangled up." What a harmonious scene. It only made the tears glistening on Rongyuan's cheeks seem out of place. Seeing I hadn't bullied Rongyuan, Chi Lei's murderous aura faded. His tone softened as he said, "Seeing you two so harmonious puts this general at ease." Rongyuan hadn't expected me to be even more sly than she was. Unable to swallow her pride, she tearfully complained to Chi Lei, "General, sister frightened me terribly just now. She said she'd use my hair to make strings for a zither, and that she'd boil my fishtail for soup." Wah. I don't know if sister was joking or serious. Yen is so scared, I won't dare sleep alone tonight. Chi Lei's smile froze. He demanded of me, "Yanfei, did you say those things to Yenner just now?" I feigned surprise, glaring at Rongyuan. "Rongyuan, I've treated you kindly. How could you slander me in front of the general?" Chi Lei was thoroughly confused by our exchange, unsure whom to believe. Rongyuan looked utterly wronged. "General, I didn't slander sister. Those words were truly spoken by sister herself. She also said that after I give birth to the little mermaid, she'll plant thousands upon thousands of pearl buds inside its belly. When it grows up, she'll cut it open to sell them for money. Wah, sister is so cruel. General, I'm so scared." Rong Yan's repeated cries of general melted Qi Lei's heart. He approached to comfort her, rest assured. With this general here, no one dares harm you. I will protect you and the child within you. Qi Lei disgusted me. His eyes held only Rong Yan, as if bewitched by her, blind to everyone else. Rong Yan believed she'd won a round. A fleeting smirk of triumph touched her lips as she gently stroked her belly. General, haven't you told sister yet? The child growing inside me is your flesh and blood. I wonder if sister would be willing to share a husband with me. She deliberately emphasized the last 4 words, her eyes narrowing slightly as she looked at me. Qi Lei waited for my reaction. Yanfei, Yanner has a gentle nature. This general hopes you two can coexist peacefully. I gently stroked my small belly, interrupting him. How convenient. I'm also pregnant. We can nurture our babies together. Qi Lei's face darkened. Yanfei, stop this nonsense. I've been away at war for a year. How could you possibly be pregnant? How amusing, General, I chuckled, maintaining my playful tone. You managed to impregnate a fish. Without a general, I can certainly conceive on my own, can't I? Ha! Rong Yan burst out laughing, teasing. The general worried his sister might starve while he was at war. Who knew she was eating so well back at the mansion? Come with me. Qi Lei's expression darkened further. He grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the side room. As dusk fell, a breeze stirred in the courtyard, swirling fallen leaves across the ground. Yanfei, you were joking earlier, weren't you? You feigned magnanimity, but you're actually deeply bothered that I brought Rong Yan back. So you deliberately said those things to provoke me? Qi Lei stared intently into my eyes, searching my face for a crack. I'd put on a tired act earlier, and now I couldn't be bothered to play along with him anymore. My voice was cold. I am indeed pregnant. The child within me is His Highness the Crown Prince's. I begged the general to release me. Qi Lei's tone was unwavering. Impossible. I trust the Crown Prince's character. He is an upright gentleman. He would never consort with a subject's wife, much less impregnate you with his child. No sooner had he spoken than Chu Zhitian scaled the wall of the general's residence, peering over the top to observe me and Qi Lei. Chu Zhitian must have overheard every word of our earlier exchange. He seemed slightly flustered. Ahem. Qi Lei stared at Chu Zhitian in shock. Your Highness, what brings you to my residence so late? Why not use the main gate? Why climb over the wall? Chu Zhitian leapt down from the wall and approached me. I came for Yanfei. His gaze fixed on my abdomen as he demanded, Shin Yanfei, you claimed you bear my child? When did I ever touch you? This afternoon, in this very courtyard. Have you forgotten so quickly, Your Highness? I arched an eyebrow at Chu Zhitian. Surely he wouldn't back down just because Qi Lei called him a man of integrity? He promised to kiss me in front of Qi Lei, and now he's backing down? I remember it well, but... Chu Zhitian paused, sounding both exasperated and amused. Can a kiss really make someone pregnant? Qi Lei's face darkened completely. He asked Chu Zhitian coldly, Your Highness, what do you mean by that? Did you and Yanfei kiss in my courtyard this morning behind my back? Chu Zhitian feigned ignorance. Can't we kiss behind your back? Fine then, I'll kiss her right in front of you. As soon as he finished speaking, he pulled me into his embrace and pressed his lips to mine. Chu Zhitian, you've gone too far. Qi Lei was furious. He drew his sword and pointed it at Chu Zhitian. The Crown Prince's guards and secret agents flew in from all directions to protect him, surrounding Chu Zhitian and me in the center. Chu Zhitian's guard commander, named Lin Feng, pointed his sword at Qi Lei and coldly shouted, General Qi, calm down. Do not be disrespectful to the Crown Prince. Qi Lei shed his usual composure, his hair standing on end with fury. How can this general remain calm? I know he is the Crown Prince, but he has gone too far. He barged into my home. He kissed my wife right before my eyes. How am I supposed to stay calm? The last time I saw Qi Lei this enraged was in my previous life, when Rong Yan's corpse was carried out of Lotus Lake. Rong Yan's death in that life had been horribly brutal, her abdomen ripped open, her internal organs torn out, and her unborn child vanished without a trace. That was why Qi had been blinded by rage in his previous life, pointing his sword at me. Had Chu Shiqian not arrived in time to shield me, I likely would have died by Qi's blade that day. In that past life, he treated me so coldly. Now, merely because Chu Yiqian kissed me, he was enraged enough to point his sword at Chu Yiqian. Emperor Chu Hao was notoriously protective of his own, doting excessively on the son. For Qi to act this way was truly reckless. Chu Yiqian tightened his arms around my waist, whispering between breaths, "Focus. TSK." Qi was already fighting with the guards, yet Chu Yiqian remained undisturbed, kissing me with such intensity. "Your Highness, I admire your courage." After the kiss ended, I rested my head on Chu Yiqian's shoulder and murmured softly, "Your Highness, I want to remarry you. Would you dare to take me?" Chu Tian gently stroked my back, his voice brimming with delight. "Why wouldn't I? I'll seek the Emperor's decree tomorrow. You divorce General Qi tomorrow, and I'll marry you the day after. I don't want to wait a single day longer." Qi, overcome with rage, shouted the crown prince's full name, Chu Tian. "Xin Yanfei. Do you think this general is dead? Whether you're dead or alive, I'm divorcing you. May you live happily ever after with that merman, grow old together, and have many little mere people." With that, I took Chu Tian's hand and left the Qi residence. Chu Shiqian escorted me back to my family home, promising to petition his father, the emperor, tomorrow for permission to dissolve my marriage to Qi. For now, my father commands troops guarding the frontier and has not yet fallen in battle. Our Shin family still holds standing within the court. I heard that after Chu Shiqian and I left the Qi residence hand in hand, Qi rushed to the palace that very night to seek an audience with the emperor. However, the emperor refused to see him. He waited outside the palace hall all night, only meeting the emperor during the morning court session. Chu Shiqian was also attending the morning court. Seeing Qi's darkened face, his mood lifted considerably. Qi suppressed his rage, enduring until court adjourned before rushing straight to the imperial study to petition the emperor. Having suffered immense humiliation, Qi bowed and cut straight to the point, "Your Majesty, the crown prince has gone too far. Last night, in my very presence, he committed adultery with my wife. I implore your Majesty to deliver justice." Chu Hao stared blankly for a long moment before snapping back to reality. He shook his head, his tone unwavering. "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I know the character of my own son. Chu Tian is an upright man. He would never have an affair with my wife. Minister Qi, I fear you are overthinking this." As Chu Hao spoke, Eunuch Huang, the chief steward of the imperial court, leaned in and whispered urgently, "Your Majesty, it truly did happen." Ahem. Chu Hao's expression shifted slightly. He took a sip of tea to steady his nerves. After a moment, he stated, "There must be some misunderstanding here. General Shin has rendered meritorious service to the state. It is only natural for the crown prince to show favor to his daughter." Qi frowned deeply. "Your Majesty, is it also normal for the crown prince to kiss my wife in front of me?" Chu Hao was shocked. "Ah. This. He's gone too far. How could he commit such an unnatural act in front of you, Minister Qi? He should be. Cough cough, this rebellious son deserves punishment." Qi felt mortified. The emperor's favoritism toward the crown prince was nothing new. But even after such an outrageous act, would his majesty still shield him? Qi knelt. "I implore your majesty to uphold justice for this servant." Chu Hao found the matter awkward. He replied vaguely, "Minister Qi, return first. I shall question the crown prince. If this proves true." Before Chu Hao could finish, a eunuch entered. "Your Majesty, the crown prince awaits outside." Chu Hao felt his temples throb. "Admit him." Chu Haoyan entered and saw Qi present, instantly understanding the situation. "Your Imperial Majesty, your humble son greets you. Rise." Chu Hao picked up the tea from the imperial table and took a sip, pondering how to broach the subject with the crown prince. The crown prince spoke first. "Father, I have come today to request the hand of General Shin's eldest daughter, Xin Yanfei." Cough cough. Chu Hao nearly spit out the tea he was sipping. He thought to himself, "My dear son never ceases to surprise me. With General Qi still present, he dares to speak so bluntly. Does he truly believe General Qi is dead? Your Highness, I am still present. Please refrain from such remarks. Qi Lei was both furious and exasperated, but ultimately, in the presence of the emperor, he dared not be too bold. I know you are here, Emperor Chu Hao retorted, his tone unflinching. General Qi, Yin Fei, and I were childhood sweethearts. You stole her away. If you treat Yin Fei well, I might let it go. Look at what you've done, you've impregnated a mermaid. What? Do you still expect Yin Fei to share a husband with that sea creature? Chu Hao nodded. My son speaks wisely. Minister Qi, this is where you've gone wrong. General Shen raised you from childhood and treated you well. How could you mistreat his cherished daughter like this? Qi Lei felt a surge of bitter resentment welling up inside him. The emperor had only one son, Chu Haoyan, and his doting affection for him was nothing short of outrageous. For the first time, Qi Lei realized that choosing one's birth was indeed a skill. He solemnly vowed, Your Majesty, I have not mistreated Yin Fei. Even if I were to marry that mermaid, Yin Fei would be my lawful wife. I would treat her with utmost devotion and ensure she never suffers the slightest injustice before the merfolk. Chu Hao tossed the dilemma to Chu Tian. Tian, what do you think? Chu Zhitian snorted coldly, General Qi, you impregnated the mermaid. You allowed the mermaid into your home. You have already caused Yin Fei immense suffering. Since you showed no mercy first, do not blame me for being unrighteous. The crown prince finished speaking and addressed Chu Hao, Father, please issue an edict to dissolve the marriage between Yin Fei and General Qi. I shall wed Yin Fei tomorrow. By this time next year, you will hold your imperial grandson. The emperor's eyes lit up. His mind already conjured visions of cradling his royal grandson, and a smile spread across his lips, nearly bursting into laughter. The emperor had long yearned for a royal heir. But Chu Haoyan was a man of unwavering devotion, having once declared he would marry no one but Shen Yinfei. The emperor had assumed it was mere talk, yet over the years, not a single woman had graced his side. Chu Hao had arranged wave after wave of concubines for the crown prince. Plump and slender, every type imaginable. Yet he hadn't taken a single one. If the crown prince remained childless, the Chu kingdom would face succession issues when Chu Hao ascended the throne. Chu Hao was so troubled he'd considered drugging his son and slipping two stunning beauties into his bedchamber. This was the first time the crown prince had ever voluntarily offered to give the emperor a royal grandson. How could he not be thrilled? Chu Hao suppressed the upward twitch of his lips and said solemnly, Minister Qi, since you have found another love, then let go and grant Yinfei and Tian their wish. Did I not bestow upon you the waters of the imperial lake yesterday? Divorce Yinfei. Whatever reward you desire, speak freely. Qi Lei's rage boiled over, yet he composed himself and said, Your Majesty, I only want Yinfei. I can forego all other rewards, including the imperial lake water. I beg you to revoke this decree. Chu Hao's smile vanished. Sitting upright with imperial gravitas, he declared, Minister Qi, I've spoken to you with reason and kindness. Don't be ungrateful. The imperial heir is a matter of utmost state importance. Sacrifice your personal desires for the greater good, and I shall remember your loyalty. If your actions delay my embrace of my royal grandson, Chu Hao paused, then delivered a sentence of extreme severity, 10 heads would not suffice for your punishment. Your Majesty. Qi Lei suppressed his rage, gazing at the man seated in the dragon robe. The Emperor of Chu, who usually appeared benevolent, wore only a mask. Beneath it lay a wolf in sheep's clothing, a ruler who struck without hesitation. Enough. Chu Hao waved his hand. Will you divorce Yin Fei yourself, or shall I issue the decree? Choose. Choose the former, and I'll spare you the humiliation. Choose the latter, and don't blame me for being ruthless. Everything you possess today was given to you by General Shen. Without you, any general under his command could easily take your place. Minister Qi, think carefully. Don't disappoint me. Kneel and take your leave. Chu Hao's words left Qi Lei speechless. Suppressing the raging storm within, he knelt and said, This subject takes his leave. After returning from the palace, Qi Lei rushed straight to the Shen residence to find me Yinfei. His Majesty has ordered our divorce. With just one word from you, if you stand unwaveringly by my side, I would cling to your hand even in death. Ha ha ha. The memory of Chi Lei personally forcing me to drink the pregnancy potion in my past life made him seem utterly ridiculous. I suppressed my laughter, my gaze filled with disgust. Chi Lei, listen carefully. I choose unwaveringly to divorce you. I choose unwaveringly to marry Chu Yutian. And I ask you to choose unwaveringly that mermaid. From this day forward, we part ways. Yin Fei, you've changed. Chi Lei couldn't believe I could be so ruthless. Didn't you once insist on marrying only me? Is it because I brought Rong Yan back that you've transformed so completely? Chi Lei drew a deep breath, conceding, what if I told you I could cast Rong Yan back into the East Sea for you? The words left his lips, and a sharp pain stabbed his chest. Red veins spread across his eyes, tinged with anguish. As if the words he'd just spoken were a blade piercing his heart, leaving him restless and unsettled. I was blind before, I said sincerely. Now I see clearly, Chu Tian is 10 times, 100 times better than you. The most regrettable thing I've ever done was choosing you over him. We still have a chance now. Let's both let each other go. Impossible. You couldn't possibly have changed your heart. Chi Lei's pain deepened at my words. He grabbed my hand, trying to pull me into his embrace. Yin Fei, don't speak with a forked tongue. I was wrong. Stop this, okay? Naturally, I wouldn't let him hold me again. I wrenched my hand free. Get out. I don't want to say another word to you. Yin Fei. Chi Lei faltered, words caught in his throat. 2 guards leapt down from the roof, blocking Chi Lei's path. General Chi, control yourself. These 2 guards were placed by Chu Zhitian to protect me. Seeing my resolve unshaken, Chi Lei sighed and turned to leave the Shin residence. That night, he sent messengers bearing the divorce decree. This must have been his carefully considered conclusion. With imperial authority looming, defiance would cost him both his career and his life. No sooner had Chi Lei and I divorced than the emperor's edict granting our marriage to Chu Zhantian arrived. Chu Zhantian couldn't wait a single day longer. The moment the imperial messenger departed, Chu Zhantian shut the door and eagerly pulled me into his embrace. Yin Fei, I've finally married you. I let him hold me, thinking, I was blind in my past life, but in this one, I'm finally seeing clearly. A thought struck me, and I hurriedly said to Chu Yutian, let's postpone our wedding by 7 days. Have His Majesty summon my father back to the capital to attend our wedding banquet. Then send Chi Lei to the border to replace my father. Chu Tian didn't even ask why. He simply agreed, all right, I'll do as you say. From now on, I'll always listen to you. Then hurry, I urged. This is urgent. Only 1 month remained until the day my father had died on the battlefield in my previous life. Recalling that past existence, the enemy nation had launched a sudden invasion, and my father had taken command of the troops. Upon hearing that Chi Lei intended to kill me over a mermaid, my father had become so enraged and flustered that the enemy forces seized the opportunity. Desperate to save his daughter, my father had rushed to conclude that battle, to rush back and protect me. Yet he perished on the battlefield, his throat pierced by an enemy arrow. Even as death approached, my father crawled toward home. Blood pooled from his throat as he gasped, Yin Fei, my dear daughter. I should never have taken in that ingrate Chi Lei. Recalling the tragic scene of my father's death in his previous life, my eyes welled up with tears. Why are you crying? Chu Tian flustered, leaning down to gently kiss the tears from my eyes. Don't worry. I'll just kiss you once. I'll go back immediately and ask my father the emperor to issue an edict, summoning father-in-law back to the capital by 800 Li Express. All right. My tears turned to smiles as I let his kisses fall upon me. He promised just 1 kiss, yet he nearly devoured me whole. That night, Chu Zhitian returned to the palace to petition the emperor. The emperor dispatched an urgent imperial edict summoning my father back to the capital. Early the next morning, Chi Lei received the imperial decree ordering him to garrison the frontier. Chi Lei thought his chance for promotion had arrived, unaware this would be his final journey. His only concern was Rong Yan. She was now 6 months pregnant, with only 3 months left before delivery. It was unwise for her to travel with him any longer. Construction on Lotus Lake had already begun. He had negotiated 7 days with the emperor. After 7 days, when Lotus Lake was completed and filled with the Imperial Lake's waters, he placed Rong Yen within it before setting off for the frontier. I knew all this was futile. In my past life, Rong Yen died shortly after Lotus Lake was finished. Seawater cannot sustain lotus blossoms. After Rong Yan's death, thousands upon thousands of lotus flowers withered overnight, rendering all the artisans' labor wasted. Qi Lei has always been intelligent. How could he be so foolish in this matter? I suspect he's possessed. Perhaps he truly is possessed. The emperor granted Qi Lei's request. 7 days later would be the day of my wedding to the crown prince. He might still have a sip of wedding wine before setting off. That day, with nothing to occupy me, I returned to the Qi residence to retrieve my gold and silver jewelry and personal belongings. Passing by the side chambers, I overheard the voices of Qi Lei and Rong Yan inside. Rong Yan's voice sounded desperate. "General, please take me with you to the frontier. If you leave me alone in the mansion, I'll die." Qi Lei soothed her. "Yenner, your condition is delicate. The strain of travel would harm the fetus. Rest assured, I'll station guards at the mansion to protect you. No one will approach Lotus Lake. No, General. No guard, no matter how skilled, can protect me. Only you can keep me safe. Please take me with you. Don't abandon me." Sniffle. Rong Yan began to cry. Rong Yan's reaction gave me much to ponder. It was as if she could foresee her own peril. Could she, too, have been reborn? In my past life, the circumstances surrounding Rong Yan's death remained an enigma. Qi Lei believed I had grown jealous of her, hired assassins to kill her, and even had her unborn child cut from her womb. But in truth, I did not kill Rong Yan. Qi Lei embraced Rong Yan, insisting, "This general only acts for your safety. Traveling thousands of miles from the East Sea to accompany me back to the capital has already stirred your pregnancy. Your body absolutely cannot endure further strain. Wah, General, I'm scared without you." Rong Yan buried her face in Qi Lei's chest and began to sob. Her intermittent sobs gradually took on a hint of intimacy. TSK. Even pregnant, she can't keep still. It was the same in my past life. Doesn't she fear the commotion might cause a miscarriage? Finding it unbearably awkward, I turned and left the side chamber, heading toward my former boudoir. The back courtyard was being excavated for an artificial lake, craftsmen laboring diligently with their hoes. Passing through the courtyard gate, a laborer carrying 2 buckets of shells walked past me. I glanced at him out of the corner of my eye. At first, I paid it no mind. But upon returning to my chambers, fragments of my past life suddenly flashed through my mind. I tried to grasp at something. That craftsman carrying the shells, I had seen him in my previous life. The night before Rong Yan died, I had seen her at the Shellwater house. It was she who sent a maid to summon me, saying she wished to see me. When I arrived, she taunted me, spouting nonsense about how Qi Lei was obsessed with her body. We had a heated argument. As I left the Shellwater house, I saw the same shell-picking artisan by the lakeside. He was observing something by the shore and bowed to me when he noticed my presence. Early the next morning, Rong Yan was dead, 1 body, 2 lives lost. The fetus in her womb had been cut out and vanished without a trace. Based solely on my argument with Rong Yan at the Shellwater house the night before, Qi Lei became utterly convinced I had killed her. I had suspected the shell artisan. I sketched his likeness and presented it to Qi Lei, stating, "This man is a suspect. Investigate him." Qi Lei looked into the artisan depicted in the sketch. His final response to me was, "Xin Yanfei, have you begun fabricating stories to clear your name? This general has verified that among all the craftsmen working on Lotus Lake this time, there is no craftsman matching your description." The matter was left unresolved. The craftsman in the sketch seemed to have vanished into thin air, nowhere to be found. Qi Lei never cleared up his misunderstanding about me. Pushing those thoughts aside, I hurried out of the room to find the craftsman. I searched the entire Qi residence and finally located him in a secluded corner by a pile of seashells. Upon seeing me, he lowered his gaze and bowed, "Greetings, General's lady." "I am no longer the General's lady. I've only returned to collect my personal belongings." I studied the craftsman. I hadn't studied him closely in my past life, but now, upon closer inspection, I noticed something peculiar. His features and physique seemed mismatched. His form was tall and perfectly proportioned. No matter how he tried to conceal it, an air of noble refinement subtly emanated from him. Yet his face was utterly ordinary. A man with such an exceptional physique and distinguished bearing possessed a face that was utterly unremarkable. His face shouldn't be like this. Seizing an inattentive moment, I reached out to tear the human skin mask from his face. Before I could pull it halfway off, he instantly shielded his face. "Guards!" Before my words escaped, his eyes flashed with ferocity as he clamped his hand over my lips, pinning me down. This craftsman likely didn't know two guards were watching over me from the shadows. They were about to rescue me. I gave them a subtle signal, urging them not to act rashly until I could draw him out. "Shut your mouth if you want to live." The man pressed one hand over my lips while his other hand tightened around my throat. I tilted my head slightly and saw half of his human skin mask slip down. Beneath the mask lay a face of extraordinary beauty. This was the face that truly belonged to such a figure. I signaled for him to release my mouth. With my throat already clamped, I dared not cry out for help. "If you dare call for help, I won't mind sending you to meet the king of hell right now." As he spoke, he loosened his grip on my mouth, freeing one hand to pluck the hairpin from my hair. He pressed the pin against my neck. "Who are you?" I demanded. "Why are you lurking in the Chi residence?" He remained silent, lifting his gaze to survey the escape routes. Seeing his silence, I pressed on. "I'm no longer the general's wife. Perhaps we aren't enemies, we could even be allies. You came to kill that merman, didn't you?" The man replied in a flat tone, "Since you are no longer the general's wife, there's no need for you to get involved. Knowing more won't do you any good." Suddenly, I detected something in his accent. "Are you from Xia?" The hairpin in his palm pressed forward slightly, revealing a hint of murderous intent. "Too clever to live long, crown princess. Perhaps I should consider killing you first, then the mermaid." So he was indeed from Xia. Traveling all this way to Chu disguised as a craftsman, solely to kill a mermaid, it seemed he had his eye on Rong Yen for quite some time. I remained calm. "If you dare kill me, you'll likely never escape the capital. Instead, let's cooperate. You want to kill the mermaid, I want to kill the mermaid. I'll lend you a hand. What do you say?" The man was tight-lipped. "I can kill her myself. I don't need your help." "I doubt that," I countered, feigning retreat. "Your cover is blown now. It'll be hard to pull off. Killing a mermaid is no big deal. If not today, there will be other chances." His tone carried an air of certainty. Then his tone shifted. "But if you could lend me a hand, it would save me a lot of trouble." Perhaps swayed by my words, he loosened the hairpin in his hand. It no longer pressed tightly against me, serving only as a guarded threat. I pressed further. "Then release me before we speak. Otherwise, if other craftsmen arrive and see you holding me hostage, you'll find it hard to extricate yourself." After a moment's thought, he backed toward the wall while still holding me. "If you truly wish to cooperate, bring the merfolk to Drunken Spring Lake at midnight tonight. Once the task is done, I shall reward you handsomely." "Agreed," I replied. "What should I call you?" "Jiang Shao." With that, he released me, leaped onto the wall, and vanished from sight. After Jiang Shao left, I returned to the side room to pack my belongings. Once I was nearly finished, Chi Lei arrived. "Yan Fei, you postponed the wedding by 7 days. Are you still giving me a chance?" I frowned. Could he please stop being so disgusting? He'd just been rolling around in the sheets with Rong Yen, and now he was saying this to me. I felt sick. "Just seeing you makes me nauseous." I glanced up at him, intending only a brief look, but was startled by the crimson in his eyes. His sockets were laced with red veins. I recalled my past life, when I slit my wrists before him, his unusual reaction. In that life, as I died, I saw the intricate web of red veins in his eyes fade. After I took my own life, he seemed utterly tormented, as if deeply regretting everything he'd done to me over those 5 years. A bold suspicion suddenly took root in my mind. Chi Lei was summoned to the palace by the emperor at the last minute. He left in such haste that I had no chance to verify my hunch. However, the emperor calling him to the palace now presented me with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I would advance the operation scheduled for nightfall to the present hour, catching Qi Lei and Rong Yan completely off guard. I moved toward the side chamber where Rong Yan resided. She was curled up, soaking in the bathtub. When I pushed open the door, she flinched like a startled bird, expecting an assassin. Recognizing me, she visibly relaxed. Suppressing her earlier panic, she offered a light laugh. "Sister, what brings you here? Did you just see the general? He only left my quarters moments ago." "Enough," I snapped impatiently. "I know you were up to no good with the general. No need to flaunt it." Rong Yan gazed at me with alluring charm. "Oh, sister, you're almost the crown prince's consort yourself. Why are you still jealous of your little sister? I only want the general, I'm not competing with you for the crown prince. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you, the general just promised me he'll take me with him to the frontier this time. No need to dig Lotus Lake anymore, and we won't need the Imperial Lake water either." Rong Yan's voice dripped with smug satisfaction. Earlier, Qi Lei had sworn he wouldn't take her. How could he agree after just one night? Seems my earlier suspicions were correct. Suddenly, I reached out and clamped my hand around Rong Yan's throat, demanding, "Rong Yan, did you use dark arts to control Qi Lei?" "Cough cough, sister, you're hurting me." Rong Yan tried to pry my hands apart, her snow-white cheeks flushed crimson. "The general genuinely likes me, how could that be called control?" My gaze turned icy, murderous intent flashing, "Not telling me, huh? I'll stew you into fishtail soup later." My palm tightened relentlessly. Rong Yan gasped for air, baring her teeth at me, attempting to bite my palm. When merfolk are enraged, their teeth secrete venom. If she bit me, I'd likely be poisoned. I wasn't foolish enough to let her bite me. I drew a long spike from my sleeve and drove it deep into the top of her head. The crown of the head is a mermaid's weak spot." She didn't finish her sentence before passing out. Last time I combed Rong Yan's hair, it wasn't just for show. I was locating the crown of her head. Only by pinpointing its location could I strike decisively. "Guards!" I commanded aloud. Moments later, the 2 guards Chuitian had assigned to me leapt down from the rafters. They bowed with hands clasped. "Princess consort, your orders?" We weren't even married yet, and Chuitian's guards were already addressing me as princess consort. It sounded rather pleasant, so I let them continue. I commanded, "Bind her and transport her secretly out of the Qi residence." "Yes, your highness." The 2 guards immediately sprang into action, lifting Rong Yan out of the bathtub. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a dazzling white pearl lying in the tub. I reached in and scooped it up, a mermaid pearl, still warm in my palm, like an egg freshly laid by a hen. So that's how it is. It clicked. The puzzle from my past life finally fell into place. Humph. Things are getting more and more interesting. My earlier talks with Jiang Shao about cooperation were merely a ploy to extract information. Now that I have my answer, there's no need for cooperation. Hold on. I called out to the 2 guards and ordered, "Take her directly to the Eastern Palace. This is my dowry for marrying into the Eastern Palace. Let His Royal Highness the Crown Prince examine it carefully. Not a single scratch must be allowed." Huh? The 2 guards froze, baffled by my request. But they dared not ask further, responding, "Yes, Crown Princess." Qi Lei likely hadn't anticipated that after his audience with Chu Hao, as he left the palace, he would pass by the carriage secretly escorting Rong Yan to the Eastern Palace. Returning to his residence, Qi Lei discovered Rong Yan was gone. The servant said I had entered the side chamber. Qi Lei rushed straight to the Shin residence to demand her return. He arrived in a rage, frantic over Rong Yan's whereabouts. "Yan Fei, where have you hidden Rong Yan? Hand her over immediately." "What? Rong Yan is missing?" I feigned surprise before explaining, "I did see her once before leaving the Qi residence, but I haven't hidden her." "You've come to the wrong person." Qi Lei protested urgently, "Impossible. Who else could have hidden her besides you?" I sipped my tea calmly. When I left the mansion, I only carried a small bundle. If you don't believe me, ask the steward. Rongyan is so large, where could I possibly hide her? Perhaps she hid herself. You'd better go back to the mansion and look for her. You truly didn't hide her? Chi Lei remained unconvinced, the red veins in his eyes growing more intricate. No. I set down my teacup and offered a well-meaning warning. Chi Lei, you've been bewitched by Rongyan's dark arts. You should seek out a sorcerer. Chi Lei froze in place, shaking his head. Don't change the subject. I haven't been bewitched. I'm returning to the estate to find Rongyan right now. If I can't find her, I'll come back for you. Watching his hasty retreat, I sneered, foolish. Being played like a puppet by a mermaid. With so many craftsmen digging the lake and hauling soil at the Chi residence, it would have been a breeze for those two guards to smuggle Rongyan out. After returning home, Chi Lei searched every nook and cranny of the Chi residence 3 times over, yet found no trace of Rongyan. When he came back to the Shin residence to find me, the steward informed him I had already left with His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Chi Lei returned empty-handed. Chu Zhitian and I rode out of the city by carriage, heading to Springdrunk Lake to meet the man from earlier that day, Jiang Shao. We would decide whether to kill him or keep him for future use. This time, Chu Zhitian brought a large contingent of guards. Jiang Shao stood waiting for us atop a painted pleasure boat. Dressed in a long black robe, he stood in the fierce evening wind, his figure appearing lonely yet noble. He showed no surprise at seeing Chu Zhitian, as if he had long anticipated my arrival with him. After exchanging greetings, Jiang Shao asked me, "What about the mermaid? Did you bring her?" "No," I replied truthfully. We had the numbers on our side, while he stood alone. Even without the mermaid, he couldn't threaten us. "It seems you already know the mermaid's secret," Jiang Shao responded with more composure than I expected. "Xin Yanfei, does our agreement still stand? If it does, the pearl will be split evenly between you and the Crown Prince. Consider it a gesture of friendship." Chu Tian interjected, "And if it doesn't? What then, Xia Shao?" Jiang Shao clearly hadn't expected Chu Tian to address him by his true name. After a moment's pause, he replied calmly, "Since the Crown Prince already knows my true identity, why would you turn away an ally like me over half the mermaid pearls?" Chu Tian made an outrageous demand, "Forget about the pearls and the merfolk. If greed consumes you, you won't even make it out of the capital." After deep contemplation, Jiang Shao gritted his teeth and said, "Very well. Should the Crown Prince ever need my services in the future, I implore you to extend your favor." Chu Tian smiled. "No problem. We'll see if the bargaining chips you offer can sway me then. Seems keeping this man around still has its uses." Before Chu Tian and I departed, Jiang Shao revealed the method to retrieve the mermaid pearl. Watching our retreating figures, he said, "Consider the mermaid pearl and the merfolk as your wedding gift. Until we meet again." Upon returning to the city, Chi Lei stood waiting at the gate. He was now certain I had conspired with Chu Tian to hide Rongyan. Believing I would kill Rongyan, he was now in a frenzied state. Pointing his sword at me, he demanded, "Xin Yanfei, hand over Rongyan, and I'll spare your life." "Insolent!" Chu Zhitian roared, his gaze freezing on Chi Lei. "Chi Lei, I've longed to kill you. Dare you take one step forward?" Chu Tian had gone to meet Jiang Shao earlier. To guard against ambushes, he'd secretly brought numerous guards and archers. At that moment, archers in the shadows drew their bows taut, aiming at Chi Lei. The red veins in Chi Lei's eyes spread and grew, clouding his vision and clouding his mind. He remained stubbornly fixated. "I'll say it once more, where is Rongyan? Return her to me." Chu Tian's gaze turned icy as he commanded, "Release the arrows." Whoosh, 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 countless sharp arrows flew from the shadows, piercing Chi Lei's body. Pierced by a hail of arrows, he knelt, blood spilling from his mouth. The crimson threads in his eyes slowly dispersed, his gaze clearing. Suddenly lucid, he called my name, crawling toward me, "Yanfei." I looked down at him from above. "Chi Lei, is there anything else you wish to say?" "Yanfei, you're right. I was bewitched by the mermaid. From the day I plunged into the East Sea, when she kissed me beneath the waves, I was already under her spell." Chi Lei's eyes burned with bitter resentment. "Why did we come to this? Why can't we stay together forever? Blood gushed forth as Qi Lei expended his last ounce of strength. Yin Fei, the only one I've ever loved is you. Qi Lei died. In my original plan, after my father returned from the frontier, Qi Lei was sent there and perished under enemy arrows. Was it his own recklessness, or had he been too deeply bewitched by Rongyuan? Whenever Rongyuan faced danger, he lost all reason. Even knowing each step forward meant certain death, he charged forward regardless. Later, I learned that the saliva and bodily fluids of merfolk possess enchanting properties. During his campaigns in the East Sea, Qi Lei had once fallen into the ocean depths. As he struggled to breathe, Rongyuan appeared. She offered him breath, but in truth, she was bewitching him. After that, Qi Lei repeatedly shared intimate moments with Rongyuan, becoming increasingly ensnared by her spell, unable to extricate himself. Only death could bring him complete liberation. Otherwise, only extreme shock could momentarily restore his clarity. In his past life, even after Rongyuan died, he never regained his senses. My death dealt him a crushing blow, briefly snapping him out of his trance. That's why he clung to my corpse, weeping bitterly, and cried out to the heavens, "Why? Why?" Truthfully, the mermaid's saliva alone wouldn't have caused such deep enchantment. Had Qi Lei not shared so many intimate moments with Rongyuan, he wouldn't have been ensnared to this extent. Ultimately, it was his years of military campaigns, his loneliness, and his failure to hold the line. He professed his love for me, yet betrayed me. That's how Rongyuan found her opening. Rongyuan was not pregnant. Her womb held no fetus, only thousands upon thousands of mermaid pearls. Jiang Shao had been raised since childhood by pearl cultivators of the East Sea, where mermaid pearls commanded 1,000-fold, even 10,000-fold, price over regular pearls. The East Sea pearl cultivators had implanted pearl buds within Rongyuan's body, intending to slit her belly open to harvest them once matured. Little did they know Rongyuan would encounter Qi Lei at the ocean depths. Thus she hatched a plan to use Qi Lei to escape, avoiding the fate of having her belly cut open for the pearls. She bewitched Qi Lei, compelling him to carry her thousands of miles from the East Sea back to the capital. Yet in her past life, she still couldn't evade the merfolk's destiny of pearl extraction. The pearl cultivators dispatched Jiang Shao to the capital to retrieve the pearl, which is why Rongyuan met such a tragic end in her previous life. Jiang Zhao's original name was Xia Shao, the second prince of the Xia kingdom who had been exiled among commoners. The crown prince of the Xia kingdom was Xia Xin. Xia Shao needed to accumulate wealth by selling mermaid pearls to raise an army. His goal was the throne of the Xia kingdom. Now, before his power was fully established, he abandoned the pearl but gained an ally in Chu Chu Tian. Chu Chu Tian was the sole heir to the Chu kingdom. When Xia Jiao eventually raised an army to seize power in Xia, if the terms he offered could sway Chu Chu Tian, the latter might well send troops to aid him. Should he ascend the Xia throne, Xia and Chu might well transform from enemies into allies. 7 days hence, my father will return from the frontier to attend my wedding banquet with Chu Tian. This time, I shall keep him in the capital, sparing him the tragic death he met in my past life. In my past life, during the war between Chu and Xia, my father was struck by an arrow and died while worrying about me. Yet the soldiers under his command remained unstoppable. In that battle, Chu triumphed, and Xia was defeated. This time, without my father as commander, his generals could still lead the troops to defeat Xia. As for Rongyuan, she was imprisoned beneath the imperial lake, forced to produce pearls. There are 2 methods to extract mermaid pearls. One involves forcing her to expel them one by one from her body, a process that would take an extremely long time. The other method is to cut open her abdomen and harvest thousands of pearls at once. However, the second method would kill her. Therefore, to ensure a steady supply of pearls, the best approach is to keep her nourished with the waters of the East Sea. A single mermaid pearl is worth a fortune, killing her would be sheer waste. Ensuring her perpetual pearl production maximizes the resource. This is the merfolk's inescapable fate, unalterable by any. Rongyuan once attempted to bewitch palace attendants retrieving pearls from the imperial lake with her saliva. But I had long instructed the pearl retrievers, keep her at a distance. Unable to bewitch the pearl divers, Rongyuan devised another scheme, attempting to enchant Shuzhen Tian with her melodious singing. She believed all men were alike, that any she desired to bewitch could be led by the nose. Chu Xintian heard the singing in the dead of night and frowned. It's unbearably awful, polluting my ears. Attendants, silence her with poison. Chu Tian ordered servants to force-feed Rongyan a muting potion, rendering her permanently voiceless. Helpless and enraged, Rongyan hurled herself against the prison bars. Had she remained obediently in the East Sea, resisting the temptation to seduce Chile and scheming to escape to Chu's capital, pearl cultivators would never lightly kill a mermaid. Henceforth, she would spend her remaining days imprisoned beneath the lake. Once every pearl within her body had been expelled, I would implant new pearl buds, ensuring she continued to yield value for me. A year after our marriage, I bore Chu Haoyan's heir. The emperor and empress, now holding their imperial grandson, beamed with joy. 3 more years passed when Chu Hao declared the throne tedious, rising daily for court, mountains of memorials piling up, a headache just to contemplate, detrimental to his longevity. Thus he abdicated, becoming the retired emperor. He took Chu Haoyan's mother to wander the seas. No wonder Chu Hao doted so excessively on Chu Haoyan. He had long planned to pass the nation's burdens on to his son while living a carefree life. After Chu Hao abdicated, Chu Yutian was forced to ascend the throne prematurely, and I was crowned empress. After my father survived that ordeal, his life was no longer in danger. One day, Xia Jiao sent a secret report. He planned to stage a palace coup and requested Chu Yutian's support. In his secret letter, Xia Xiao stated his father, the emperor, was gravely ill. The crown prince, Xia Xian, had recently returned from a hunting trip bearing a single orchid. The crown princess, Mu Qinglan, witnessed firsthand how, after nightfall, the orchid's tendrils ensnared Xia Xian, transforming into a celestial beauty who consummated with him. The orchid spirit was draining the crown prince's vitality dry. In desperation, Xia Xian drew his sword and personally beheaded his pregnant crown princess. The people of Xia were seething with resentment toward the crown prince. This presented the perfect moment for a palace coup. Xia Xiao offered generous rewards. Upon success, he pledged to cede 10 border cities to Chu, along with annual tributes of precious gold, silver, jewels, jade, agate, and Xiao's unique mineral resources. After weighing the benefits, Chu Tian issued orders, dispatching troops to aid Xia Xiao. As for whether the palace coup succeeded, well, that's another story entirely. When I was pregnant with our second child, the minister suggested Emperor Chu Tian hold a beauty pageant to replenish the harem. Desperate to survive, Emperor Chu Tian swore to me, Yanfei, I swear on my life I will never take another consort. Don't listen to those ministers' nonsense. I nodded softly, a faint smile touching my lips. Indeed, your majesty need not make such promises to your consort. I trust you. He swept me into his arms. Then grant me a kiss? Just one. 2 kisses wouldn't hurt, I murmured, only to be instantly engulfed by Chu Yutian's lips. As the sun dipped below the horizon, crimson clouds painted the sky, casting a warm glow upon our silhouettes as we stood embraced atop the city walls. The story ends here. Thank you all for your companionship. See you in the next chapter.